Rev up your engines! DIY Automotive says the 2024 Toyota Tacoma is only going to be available in a 4-cylinder turbo or hybrid. Your thoughts? Well, yeah, I think it's stupid. They don't want to put the V6 in them. Why? They're good engines, right? So they're going to make a 4-cylinder with a turbo to put out more horsepower. They're going to wear out faster. Why do people buy Toyota Tacomas? Historically, they want something that lasts forever. I've seen them with over 1 million miles on it, right? There's no way you're going to get 1 million miles out of a 4-cylinder turbo engine. End of story. And hybrids are fine technology. You get better gas mileage, more power. But as they age, the money it costs to fix them. Toyota makes good hybrid vehicles. They really started the whole ball rolling with the Toyota Priuses, right? I'm sure it'd be quite dependable, but then when it gets 200,000 miles or more and hybrid system breaks, it costs a fortune. Now, if you're the type of person, you buy a truck, you get 200,000, you're happy, you'd probably be happy with it, right? Even though you're going to pay more for hybrid. But if you're like me, you want to make them last 20, 30 years or more, no, you're not going to be happy when a hybrid system breaks. Barack says, Scotty, the drives says 8 out of 10 of the worst selling cars in the U.S. are Stellantis Fiat Chrysler vehicles. With the saying, Mopar or no car, does that mean people are opting out for the latter? Well, no. It's only getting worse as time goes on. You really think Fiat bought Chrysler. The interesting thing is, when Mercedes bought Chrysler, they actually started to improve the quality of the cars. But Mercedes lost billions of dollars in the deal, and they said, then Fiat bought it. Not directly from them. Another guy bought the company, a consortium. He was wise. All he did was shop around. While they made him, they called them Chrysler LLC, Limited Liability Corporation. Then they were dumb enough at Fiat to buy them, and then Stellantis was created, Fiat, Chrysler, and Peugeot, the three stooges of car manufacturing, right? It's only getting worse. Dave says, hey, Scotty, are all the plastic parts the same in cars, or does Toyota have better plastic materials that last longer? Well, they used to, but now recently I'm seeing people with Toyotas where the side view mirrors are melting because they're plastic, and plastic molding between the doors is melting, so they're not making it as good as they used to. Now, back in the day, they made pretty good plastic, with the exception of my son had a 94 Camry, plastic door handles. They all broke. Cheap plastic cracked and they came off. But of course, they're nowhere near the low quality of BMW plastic. Ask any mechanic about BMW plastic, they'll tell you it's the worst plastic ever made. The engine parts, whatever, they're always cracking and breaking. For some reason, the Germans make really crappy plastic. I don't know why, but they seem to. Yeah, seriously, Scotty, I need a reliable car other than Honda and Toyota. They're way too overpriced. What other reliable cars are there? All right, well, here's the problem. Most reliable cars, people know they're reliable, they're going to be expensive. You get what you pay for if you shop around. Get a used Honda or Toyota. That's all I've done my whole life. I've only bought used Toyotas and used Lexuses, and I drive them forever. So even though, well, I don't pay much because I know how to get cars. I'm a mechanic, right? I buy them when people are dumb enough to get rid of a good car because they don't like the color, or, oh, it's getting old, I need a new model. Well, let them pay the brunt, and I'll take the change left over and drive it for 20 more years, right? If you're talking about new cars, Honda and Toyota are it, and they're not all that expensive, depending on what you want. I mean, everybody and their brother wants an SUV, right? So you want an SUV Honda or Toyota, you're going to pay through the nose, right? You can get a brand new Corolla. The guy just buy a nice brand new Corolla for 20 grand. He went to Colorado and bought it from Nashville because they were cheaper there, and he drove it back. They're not that expensive. But of course, you want the big SUVs. You're going to pay through the nose no matter what you buy. Look at the price of a brand new Ford GM big SUVs. They're, $50,000 to $70,000. They're not cheap either, and they're crap. Strange says, good day, Scotty. If you were to purchase a truck now, full size or mid size, what'd you buy? I'd buy a Toyota Tacoma. My son's got 2 Tacomas. He's got an old one, and he's got one he bought new last year because he wanted a 4-wheel drive V6 for pulling his boat and going on his land in the mud and stuff. So that's what I would buy if I was buying now. But on the other hand, I buy everything used, so I'd still go for the Toyota, but with the prices that high, I'd wait because my stuff isn't broken. I don't need anything right now. Robert Williams says, Ford Ranger EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine is any good. They're not horrible, but they're not great. You got a 4-cylinder engine. You turbocharge it. All those are turbocharged, and you have GDI injection that's over 1,000 PSI pressure. The engines wear out faster. I've seen many of those things blow up long before 100,000 miles. The old Rangers that were normally aspirated, they didn't have turbos, they didn't have GDI injection. I've seen those things with 250 and still going smooth down the road. So it all depends. If you're going to pull a lot of weight and you drive hard, I wouldn't buy it. If you're just going to tootle around, change the oil a lot, don't take it off-road, don't beat it, it could be okay. To give you a perfect example, Toyota Tacomas. They sell 4 to 5 times as many of those every year in the United States as Ford sells Rangers. And that says a lot. If Americans are buying Japanese trucks at that level higher than Ford, and Ford's the truck company. Ford makes their money with the F-150 range. They don't make it with the Rangers. They don't sell that many Rangers. Fastman says, the Germans need to have biodegradable plastic by law, but there are simple DIYs with many steps that any shade tree can do if you follow directions. Well, here's the problem. They've had some biodegradable plastics out there, and they use soybean. And guess what? The rats and the roaches came in for the kill and ate them up. Some of them used it as the plastic coating on the wiring. They'd eat right through it. Rats and mice like the little electric thrill of biting on the wires anyways. And if it's made out of something like soybean, then it tastes good too and they're getting nutrition. So they were eating them up. All kinds of suits. People are suing companies, and the companies are saying, it's not our fault that the rats and the roaches ate them. There's kind of a reason we use materials we use today, because they work. You start making out of biodegradable, they may biodegrade while you're driving the car. If you're like me and you drive a car 20 or 30 years, well, your car started to biodegrade. Now you can't drive it anymore. Maybe not such a smart idea. Brandon Sparks says, Scotty got a 2016 Nissan Versa. The engine runs rich. Thought it might be the MAF, so I unplugged it to let the ECM estimate the airflow, but the engine ran like crap. Is the ECM shot? You can't do that with a modern car. Now, go back into the early 80s and early 90s, you could unplug a MAF sensor and see what happens. They weren't as complex as they are today. Today, you unplug a MAF sensor on the vehicle, there's no saying what's going to happen. A lot of them will run like crap. In the old days, they were simpler. Their backup software would take over when you unplugged it, and sometimes they'd actually run better if you had a MAF sensor when you unplugged it. Forget it with modern cars. See a guy like me to check it out. If you're going to be doing stuff like that, you might ruin your car. It's like guys used to take off the negative battery terminal, see if the alternator's charging. It does test the alternator, but you could only do that in the 60s, early 70s when they went to computer fuel-injected cars and all these computer modules. You unplug that negative terminal in your battery to see if the alternator's charging, you'll fry the whole system. So it's not a valid test anymore doing what you did. Terry Strickland says, my 75 brake pedal doesn't come back up. Why? All right, well, you got brake problems, right? You step on a brake and it doesn't come back. Numero uno, there's a spring. There's supposed to be a spring on your brake pedal, pulling it back. Look, maybe it fell off. Simple, put a spring. But normally if it goes down, it doesn't come up. A lot of times that means your brake master cylinder has a leak in it and it's not releasing the pressure right to come up. In that case, you need a brake master cylinder. But, of course, if you have a massive leak anywhere, it can do that. So look at the wheels, see if they're all wet to see if you need a new caliper, or see if you need a new brake wheel cylinder, or if you got a broken hose that's got a hole. Check that, too. If it's not that, normally it's the master cylinder has gone bad, or the brake booster that it bolts onto, and that's super expensive. So pray it's just the master cylinder. Lou Pell says, Scotty, got a Volkswagen Golf 4. My original equipment radio doesn't work, but if I turn the headlights on, the LEDs light up on the radio. I tested the radio on a different car and it turned on. Well, obviously, you have a wiring problem in your car. Now, it's a Volkswagen. No surprise, they have crappy electronics. What you might want to do, if you don't want to go through that whole wiring system, it is a pain in the butt, right? Just take the power wires to the radio. Cut them. Run the ground wire to the body of the car. That's ground, so anywhere in there, just screw it into the metal part. Take the power wire, run it directly from the battery, and put a little fuse in line. Then you'll have a real simple battery system. It has power at all times. You turn it on, it works. You turn it off, it's off. That's what you want to do. You want to play with that Volkswagen wiring? Good luck. They're rat's nests. Quadrajet. Scotty, can I use AT205 in a 76 Buick Century with a 350 engine to fix a rear main seal leak? I don't know if the rear main seal is rope seal or rubber. Well, of course you can use it. It's rubber. An AT205 reseal is a polymer. I just know that it rejuvenates rubber, and it does work. And those are rubber. Now, you go way back in the days, I know some of the Rolls Royces actually had a leather seal there, made out of leather. It was back to the days of horse and buggies and cows, I guess. I don't know. But no, those are made out of rubber. Now, interestingly enough, some of the later model crap made in the United States, they tried using a Teflon seal, which they they had nothing but problems with. In that case, you'd have to take the transmission off the engine and put a new seal, and I'd advise you put in an aftermarket seal that's actually made out of rubber, not the Teflon, because the Teflon one was a disaster here. Just as bad as the leather one, which of course is going to wear out too, you know. Dave says, Scotty, where do you get the questions you answer from your daily videos from viewers? Yeah, I get them from you viewers. A lot of them come from people asking me questions from emails, and a whole bunch of them come to my website. That's just ScottyKilmer.com, car website where you can ask questions. The questions are answered in a forum setup. That's where most of them come. And of course, a bunch of them come from here when I do my live car talks on Thursdays and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.